So fighters, I'm here with my buddy Ryan Van Ornum with Wolfpack Property Group in Colorado Springs, Colorado. And I thought it would be worth it for you and value to you guys for me to interview a top performing real estate guru. You're more than an agent. You're more than an agent. But I know a lot of contractors, you guys, you poo-poo on the realtors, okay? You poo-poo them because you're like, oh, those fuckers and, whatever, right? And I want to tell you that in my first painting company many years ago, I probably had about a quarter of my work every year came from just a handful of the top performing real estate agents and realty groups in outside of Chicago where I was. And you guys, I wanted to bring Ryan in and pick his brain on how you can learn a little bit more about how to work with a realtor. And so, dude, welcome. Glad you're here.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah.
Appreciate you having me on the show. It's an honor to be a part of it, man.
Well, we've been planning this for a while. Give us the 30,000 foot view of what you're doing now, all you got going on. Let's get the context.
So all of it?
Yeah, give it
Okay.
all, man. Because like I said, you don't, I mean, shit, we were just setting up and you shared about 2 other businesses.
Yeah. So, we have my real estate team right now. We have 12 of us from basically down to Pueblo all the way up to Longmont in Colorado currently. That does not include our back office with a transaction coordination team, a director of operations and a sales team that actually assists the agents to making calls and stuff like that as well. So that's just in Colorado. We're actually expanding into 3 or 4 other states by the fall for real estate, not just residential though, but commercial and then business brokering as well.
Okay.
And then on top of that, we were just talking about that was I have a couple other businesses. I run a virtual assistant company that we've started to launch here called Synergy Specialist. And then I have a commodities brokering business as well, Fusion Asset Brokers. So we have that. And then my sons and I didn't tell you this one.
I don't know this one.
No,
Okay.
my sons and I, we actually have another little business that we buy sports cards.
Okay.
And we get them graded and we actually sell them at marketplace and stuff like that as well, and that goes to their college funds as well.
So just the other day, I sold a paint job to a lady, and she said to me, we sit down at her kitchen island after we did our thing outside. We sat down, we were going to do the paperwork, and she goes, "Hey, if my alarm goes off, it's just reminding me to bid." Because she was bidding on a Mickey Mantle. I think it was a Mickey Mantle ball.
Yeah.
And was it Mickey Mantle or Jackie Robinson? I can't remember which one it was, but either way, it's pretty badass. And the starting bid was like $750. I don't know nothing about these auctions. I don't do them. And she says, I said, "So what are you gonna bid? Are you gonna go to like 1,500 or whatever?" And she goes, "Oh no, I'm gonna go to 5,000 right away." And I'm like, "Why?" She says, "Because she says there's something where like if say 1,000 was the top bid, even though she bid $5,000, they would make hers $1,001 and she would win the bid." So I was like, "Oh, okay."
Right.
And she had a pretty large budget in mind. And it was funny because we're sitting there. She's like, "Hurry up and tell me what this is going to cost me so I know how much I have to bid." And so super lady, we actually start her project tomorrow. But so what'd you do before this?
I was actually, before this, I was actually work in the Department of Defense. I ran the Air Force Academy Youth Center. And then before that, I was a teacher.
Okay.
And I worked middle school and high school physical education.
Okay.
And actually before that, I was military. So I was combat communications in the Air Force.
There you go.
So I have a pretty wide, background and, educational side of it as well. So,
well, dude, now that I'm back in the paint game, for those that don't know, I recently started another company in Colorado Springs called Simplify Painting. I'll do more content on it for you guys later. I have to say that probably 3/4 of the people that I meet with now are retired military.
Mhm.
So it's just crazy. Obviously, we live in Colorado Springs, and they all hang out here because they love it. But
Oh yeah.
so that's cool. So when did you start the real estate thing?
2016.
Okay.
I got tired of all bureaucracies. Imagine that, with education and military and DOD. Like I just got tired of all red tape.
Yeah.
So I decided to go into business for myself, and I chose to jump in feet first, and it took a while to get started in business. You know this. Building your own businesses. I actually didn't have a closing for my first 7 months, and between me and my better half, we have 7 kids together, and a blended family, man.
Yeah, we got 5.
Yeah,
so
yeah. So times were tough, but.
So how shitty of a sales guy do you have to be to not sell a deal in 7 months?
Man, I sucked at life for that time, and then you're just trying to squeeze juice out of a turnip. It just wasn't working, man. So, but you just keep the biggest thing I can tell you is one of my best attributes is my resiliency, and I may get my ass kicked, but I'm gonna get back up the next 5 seconds later. I'm gonna get back up. I'm not gonna feel sorry for myself, and I'm gonna keep grinding. And I got better, and I won Rookie of the Year after the,
Nice.
for my market center in Colorado Springs after that. So
And that's such a great lesson because, back to listen, it's easy to get discouraged when you're in a slump with, I don't care what you sell, or what you're building or whatever, and it's just not moving as fast as you want it to move. And I've been in business about 2 weeks now. We've done 4 jobs, and I'm pissed I'm not at $1 million yet, right? So, and but I always remind myself of like Chinese bamboo. It grows under the ground for like 4 years. You don't see a damn thing, and then the 5th year, within like 6 weeks, it shoots up like 80 feet.
Yeah.
And that's really what's happened when you keep showing up. You're stacking the wins. You're being consistent. You're shaking hands, handing out cards, and all that. So, like I said in the intro, I've worked with realtors forever. I was on the board of a bank with Terry Banker from Coldwell Banker.
Yeah.
And by the way, did you know his wife's name?
I do not.
Terry.
Really?
Terry and Terry Banker.
Okay.
It's hilarious. So anyway, super nice guy. And when I was on the board with him, he was like, and I have a couple other friends that were big in the real estate industry. There used to be a company called United Real Estate. I don't know if you remember them for a while.
Yeah.
And I think they're gone now, but whatever. One of my good buddies was one of the top guys there. And that friend of mine at United had me come speak at their big national convention a number of years ago. And he told me that out of every 100 realtors, only 5 of them really sell houses.
Right.
Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah, I would say I think it's pretty similar to any industry where you have an 80-20 rule. 80% of the business is created by 20% of the population in it. And that is very similar in that industry. Okay. And it's really about the connections that you make. Yeah.
So how many leads does the typical real estate, like say somebody's been in it for a couple years, not just getting it off the ground, but like, you sell the first house, and then within like the next year, how many leads come in? How many deals are you guys doing? What's that look like?
For the average agent, or for what we do?
For you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for the average agent, it's about 4 deals a year.
Okay.
So but I'm a numbers person. So if you understand the business side of stuff, it's you're tracking your conversions, tracking, where you stack up and how well you're doing with certain conversations. Are you getting them from, a name, a phone number? Are you walking around knocking on doors? Are you meeting them, at events, whatever it is? Then you're tracking them to an appointment, then under contract, then to sell. Last year we did about 135 transactions and about 54 million in volume. So we're a little better than average.
Yeah. So, guys, I'm trying to give some context here before I dig into the real scoop. And what is the let's start with this. You work with contractors because we've met at properties and looked at investment properties and things like that together. And what annoys you the most about contractors? Be brutally honest, because these fuckers can take it. So
the same thing that annoys contractors about our fucktards that we have in our industry is that we don't answer the phone.
Yeah.
Is the same issue that we have with contractors.
Yeah.
If you don't answer your phone, like my business is moving too fast, I'll go to another contractor. If I don't, the thing is, if you don't have that relationship with a contractor, we'll go to the next one.
Yeah.
And it's not about the price. It's about the work that you do. And
Say that again.
It's not about the price.
Say that again.
It's not about the price, guys. It's about the work and the effort that is put in.
Yeah.
Because like if, it's the same thing. Oh, realtors, all they do is just, show up to the house, put a sign in the yard and
they let people in and they walk around and
Right. They throw a couple pieces of paperwork together and call it good.
Yeah.
And they make X amount of dollars. Well, anybody can slap paint on something and then that makes you want to fight and punch people in the throat, like that.
Right.
It just goes against the craft. There's, if we're going to put in the due diligence as a realtor, the connections that we make, the nth degree that we go to make sure that we are protecting the fiduciary side. I think of myself as a fiduciary first, not as just somebody that's a house matchmaker with somebody.
Right.
Like I don't play that game. I take care of people's wealth first. So, and that's the thing that people, they hire us for that thing first. So
my approach, like I said, I had a lot, and I've sold hundreds and hundreds of projects that the lead came from the realtor. I used to do prospecting, and I'd go into offices like yours and I'd be like, hey, you sell homes and have people that need to get them listed. And my way in was our painter for a day.
Right.
So, because there's two sides of the transaction, and this, like the person selling the house, they're biting and scratching and kicking you. You go, no, I don't want to spend any money on this. I just want to sell it. And you're going, paint the fucking front door.
Right.
And so that's where one of my buddies years ago, 25 years ago, invented this thing called Painter for a Day. And then bunch of the painters around the country, we all stole it. And he knows we're good. But so I would go in and they would let me do like these little lunch and learns or bring in Panera or whatever for breakfast and just kind of at their weekly meeting here and there. And I'd go in there a couple times, and my mindset was always, what's in it for you as the real estate agent? And I would tell them, my goal is to help you get your commission as fast as possible. Right?
Absolutely.
And all the ears would like turn on at that point. And I'd go, who's ever had a problem with a seller not wanting to put money on it? Every hand would go up. And I'd go, all right, we got this thing. It's a painter for a day. It's about $800 for the labor. Whatever the paint is. We send one guy. They'll paint the door. They'll touch up the base in the hallway, whatever it is. We get pictures and then we have this conversation. But it's usually super affordable. But now we're in the door. And then I was in the door for the other side of the transaction when they sold the house because we were leaving our shit there. And I'd knock on the door and I'd go, after people would move in, I'd see the house would sell. I'd be like, hey, I'm Tom. We've actually painted the house or did some work on the house. And I know that most people, when they move in, they usually want to, and I'm quoting a woman who told me this. She called up, she says, we're just moving into this house. We bought it and I need you out here as soon as possible. I need to get this other bitch's colors off my walls. That's exactly what she said. And so that was always my approach. But I want to go back to something a minute because I think a lot of people don't understand this. And I probably don't even know. How much time does an agent spend on a deal?
On the list side and the buy side is very different.
Okay.
And it depends on how well that you're actually able to help facilitate the opportunity. Okay. So on the listing side, there's not every realtor is created the same too. Just like not every painting crew is the same, or a lot of it comes down to management.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the relationship that you have. Like you said, you were trying to help, you know, close more deals faster for other agents. We're helping trying to close this deal with the least amount of stress for our clients and help the contractors on the backside as well.
Right.
So for a listing, if it's a balanced market like it is right now, it usually takes from the time that you prospect, you get the name, phone number, email, to the time that it closes, between 25 and 30 hours of actual work and labor to do that.
Right.
Now, on the buyer side, if you're showing properties, driving them around, and you're not able to, you know, a lot of times if you're not skilled enough to be able to have everybody in the buying opportunity agree on the right property, you're going to be running people around. I've seen the most I ever did when I first started, and I won't ever do it again, was 34 properties that I showed. So 34 properties was about 50 hours of just showing properties, let alone driving people to the properties and stuff like that.
So without drive time, you're like 50 hours.
Right.
And then without negotiations, without all the paperwork and all that other shit, just unlocking the place and showing.
That specific buyer was about 160 hours of work.
Wow.
So
did they buy?
They did buy.
What'd they buy for?
That one,
we're gonna do the math.
Yeah, I think
you
that
said
one,
you'll never do this again.
Right. That one was like 360,000 about 5 years ago.
All right. And what was the commission on that?
That was about 2.8%.
All right. Times 0.028, right?
Yep.
So for 10 grand, 160 hours, you made $63 an hour.
Yeah.
Which, when you pay your taxes out of that and all your other expenses and your marketing and stuff, that ain't going to work.
No, not at all.
So,
and that's
hence you learn that lesson early on and you're like, never again. So how do you avoid that now?
So it's really setting clear expectations to your clients. Like, they kept saying, well, another property will come on the market. Well, this lasted about 7 weeks.
Ugh.
And really they came back to a house that it was a similar model to what they saw in the first week.
Yeah.
So it was a different time then that stuff sold faster than it does now. Days on market in 2018 was right around like 15 days, and now it's 28 days.
Okay.
It's not as crazy as it was in 2021 where days on market was like 6 days.
Yeah. Those were crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
But even still, they kept the husband and wife. I could not get them on the same page, and that was on me.
Yeah. Because
I was not helping them make better decisions together.
Yeah.
And ultimately, it was like two alphas fighting each other over who was going to get what.
See, that's where you just look at the guy and you go, Chuck, just listen to your fucking wife and let's do the deal.
Exactly.
Because, she's right. And anyway, that's how it would work in my house.
Yeah.
I don't have very many opinions on shit.
Right.
So there are a couple things. But anyway, so the reason I brought that up and I went back to how much time is you mentioned earlier, like, you got to answer your damn phone.
Yeah.
Because if you don't answer your phone, you're giving the realtor a to-do where they got to, try you again, or they got to call somebody else or whatever it might be. And so it's like you said, it's not just about the money. It's about the time that they're saving you. That's why I called my company Simplify Painting. We just try to make this shit easy.
Right.
Not complicate things. Don't give people a to-do list. That project that not the one I told you with the lady with the baseball, but there was another one we did last week where the phone rang. I answered it on the first ring and talked to the guy. We did our little Shinfu sales process that we teach. I gave him a bracket. He's like, yeah, sounds good. I said, what would you like to do next? He's like, well, can you come out and firm it up? And I said, sure. I said, if I get out there and we're within this range, what's going to happen? He's like, well, we'll probably do the job. I go, probably. And, but anyway, I'm the new guy.
Right.
in the game here in town, at
Right.
least new guy in town. And I was out there within 30 minutes of getting off the phone, and we signed the deal, and we did the job literally the next day.
Yeah.
And it was just a small one-day thing, and he was blown away by the speed of that. And so, guys, I bring this up because it's easy to just point to the money why people don't hire you. Okay, that's the easy excuse, right? But I don't know if you guys could see it on the camera here, but behind Ryan it says "Own your crap." Okay, you got to own your shit and answer your damn phone. Be Johnny on the spot. Make things easy, and when that happens, because a lot of our work in my old company back in outside of Chicago was people relocating, from like the East Coast to the Midwest, which I love because they always thought we were cheap because they were coming from the East Coast. So number one, that was a real game changer for us. But number two, our realtor network referred us to those people because they had a fucking moving truck coming. The house needed to be done before the moving truck was there. The wife would fly out and she'd confirm all the colors, and sometimes she'd fly out, and a lot of times we just do it online or on the phone and send the colors, and we made it easy, because that truck is coming, and that's why the realtors, would refer us. So anyway, other than not answering their phone and stuff, is there anything that pisses you off about contractors?
I would say the integrity. Because if I screw up, I'm gonna own it, and I'm gonna pay for it.
Yeah.
I know my reputation's on the line, and I'm not going to, skirt those issues.
Mm-hmm.
I would say for contractors, go ahead and own it if you make a mistake, man. I'd much rather work with somebody, and I'll come back to somebody that's going to own it if they make a mistake.
Yeah.
So
right.
we're no one's infallible in this life.
Mm-mm.
So just own it.
Yeah.
Yep. It is what it is. If you make a mistake, let's fix it and move on.
My bad. We'll make it right.
Right.
Move on.
Yeah.
Right. Simple.
Yeah.
How often are you asked by clients about contractors?
All the time. My team, like I said, I have 12 agents right now.
Mm-hmm.
We are constantly we have a group texting thread that we're constantly, what do you know? You got a painter, you got an electrician. One of my agents just asked me for an electrician last night. Yeah. I sent her 4. And, and I was like, this person will respond, via text message better. This person, if you call them, if this person only works through their intake person, some people will give a personal cell phone. So you kind of have to know how to be able to communicate with the contractor. And, it's the same way with a plumber.
Yeah.
Are they skilled with just doing the plumbing side, or is it a full complete line replacement?
Mm-hmm.
Those type of things as well. I personally like to work, I'm a vet.
Yep.
So I try to find, people of the same integrity level, the same work ethic, work through those things. They don't have to be a vet, but you can know the intangibles and the skill sets.
Yeah. All right. I got to call you out on something, man.
Yeah, let's do it.
You were like, I gave them 4 people.
Yeah.
That pisses contractors off.
Okay.
So what does the contractor have to do to be the only name you're given?
I would say.
Or is there a law? Is there a regulation or anything with you guys? How's that work?
There is a regulation, especially when you get to home inspectors, when you get to lenders. There's a liability that a realtor has, because anytime they feel they can go back well, you only handed me 1, so
he burned my house down, so
right.
now it's your fault.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
There's a piece of that. However, to be on that top 2 list, I easily can give out 2 instead of 5.
Yeah.
I would say the relationship is the biggest thing.
Gotcha.
If you're too busy to answer just, hey bro, how you been, on a text message, me and you text probably, I don't know, 2-3 times a month.
Yeah.
Even if I'm sending you a little joke.
Yeah.
It's just still having that line of communication.
Yeah. And by the way, you guys, he says 3 times a month. That's me picking my phone up because It's about relationships. And I'm like, hey, Ryan, how's it going?
Yeah.
Literally, that's it. Like,
Yeah.
just keeping the relationship warm.
Right.
And that's what you do with me. And,
Right.
you know, that's why we're going to continue building the shit we're building,
Exactly.
you know, because we carry that habit everywhere.
And the other thing, you don't know what the other person has got going on.
Mm-hmm.
That you're a man of many entrepreneurial aspects to your life,
Mm-hmm.
that you could have people that can connect and make your life even better.
Yep.
And I would like to know those people as well, how I can help build, you know, and make everybody's life better.
Right.
You know, like I'm a big believer of like rising tides raises all
Lift
ships.
all the ships. Yep.
Yeah. So that's the way that I look at it. I don't look at it like I'm the realtor and I make all the leads happen. I look at it like, man, there's opportunities for you to grow. There's
Mhm.
opportunities for me to grow. How can we help each other?
Yeah.
Like, this is a symbiotic relationship, not like you're a barnacle stuck on this
Yeah.
big ass whale body of mine.
How do I word this so it makes sense? One of the things I've struggled with as a contractor is I don't, even though I deal with hundreds of people a year, like just talk painting, right?
Yeah.
It's not very often somebody asks, do you know a realtor, when we're painting their
Right.
house? So there are times where I kind of feel like shit in those relationships because I don't feel like I'm giving. Does that make sense?
But the realtors aren't asking you the right question.
Okay.
This is what realtors only look for their net. I would say at least 2/3 of agents don't ask the right question of the entrepreneur from you.
Okay.
You're in the day-to-day, but you have contractors that are business owners too.
Mm-hmm.
So I work not just residential, but commercial. So maybe they're a brand new contractor looking for a brick and mortar for themselves.
Right.
That you may know that other contractor that
Mhm.
as an agent, I need to know.
Yeah.
Instead of like, I don't need to sell that house per se, but
Mhm.
man, you have connections that I don't have.
Right.
That's the piece that most agents need to really start, you know, understanding how to grow their business
Mhm.
is making connections with business owners like yourself. You know, especially people that have more than one employee.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's just, you know, in any relationship, I mean, you know this. I mean, it's I want to give, and the more you give, the more you get, and
Right.
that whole thing. And so that's where I always felt. So maybe it is to your point, they're not. So what are the right questions a realtor should be asking a contractor who?
The right questions are, you know, one, what services, so we know how to articulate that better.
Mhm.
Because like as painters, are you only interior?
Yeah.
Are you only exterior? Because there are painters, right,
Mm-hmm.
that only focus on one.
Yep.
Especially in Colorado Springs, what time of year are they wanting the paint done?
Right.
Because as a realtor, I should probably know this stuff. I should probably go above and beyond and know these things, because if it's below 60 degrees, the paint doesn't stick very well.
There's products you can do it down in the 30s, but
Okay.
yeah. So Colorado's pretty forgiving for that, because you know it'll snow in the morning and then 2 hours later the snow's gone and it's 75 degrees.
Sure.
So
Sure.
um,
HVAC's the same way though.
Right.
Like you cannot test air conditioning below 60 something degrees. Otherwise it can harm the AC unit.
yeah.
So just having a better understanding of what your contractors actually do,
Mhm.
you know, don't think of such a myopic point of view as a realtor.
Yeah.
Like that's the way that I kind of look at it.
Right.
You know,
All right. So what if a contractor's listening to this and they want to go and start building these realtor relationships? What is an approach that would actually get their attention?
I think the approach that you had, make it simple,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and add value, you know, you got to be able to stand out a little bit more, make yourself relatable, you know, and be able to reach people at their level, you know, for real. Not every realtor is like I am, who thinks about the contractor as much as I think about my clients,
Mhm.
you know, like, cause like there's a balance all the way through this thing.
Yeah.
So be able to you know, you kind of have to be a little bit of a profiler and understand what each agent's looking for.
And how would, like, no offense to all you underperforming real estate agents, but I want to be targeting the ones that are kicking ass.
Oh yeah.
So how does a contractor figure that out? Is it just number of signs they see?
No.
Is it
No, there's
or is it a relationship you might have to go, can you give me, you know what I'm saying? So
there's the powerful people know the other powerful people.
Mhm.
So, you know, probably the biggest painters in town,
Mhm.
the biggest electricians in town. I know them. So it just takes a little bit of time to be able to gravitate. But I would say, who else do I need to know?
Yeah.
Give me 2 or 3 people that I need to know that, you know, who's closing deals in your office.
Yeah.
And at least let me get a chance to, you know, because like when I was at a different office, I would actually take people into my office
Mhm.
and introduce them to other agents.
Yeah.
So I do the same thing with my team members now because I have my team is as big as some brokerages now.
Right.
So what I do is I bring people on my team meetings every week and say, you know, here's everybody's name, phone number, email. So now you just had 12 leads from 12 agents. You know, if we're closing.
I had an office like that way back in the day, and there was this agent, and she basically she was the top agent there, right?
Yeah.
And in terminology, I guess it was her brokerage, right? So
Yeah.
We did a couple projects for her. She said, I want you to come into my office for our weekly meeting. There were 30 agents in there. This is back in like 2006, man,
Yeah.
when things were hopping.
Right, right.
And she goes, hey, everybody, this is Tom. This is the painter we use.
Exactly. Exactly.
So having those relationships are great, you know, and it's, but it doesn't happen overnight because it took me, that relationship came from an introduction from another buddy of mine. And then it just took a couple years for it to come to fruition. And I think that's another thing that, and I think every business is like this. I would imagine realtors are like this to some degree, where just like contractors are, where we go, I want to lead today. You know what I mean? Everyone wants a job now. Everyone wants a deal now. And I get that. But the more seeds you plant, the more relationships you build, you keep compounding that over time. You grow in this snowball
Right.
that you couldn't stop it if you wanted to. Dude, when I sold my company in Chicago, I had for the next 4 or 5 years, I still had my same cell phone.
Yeah.
For 3.5, 4 years, I was probably getting 2 to 3 leads a month.
Yeah.
On my cell phone from people I hadn't talked to for years.
Right.
And I would just call or text back and I go, hey, you know, I'm not there anymore. I sold the company. Here's the number. Give them a call. I'll take care of you. You know, so I kept sending him leads, you know, for a few years after I was even gone because of those relationships.
Absolutely.
My point is, you know, people never buy when we want them to buy.
No.
Or they rarely buy when we want them to buy.
Right.
They buy for their reasons, not our reasons. And that's why you just have to keep stacking the bricks every day and just showing up and doing that work.
I remember the old, you ever seen those marble tracks where it'd come down and you have like it would go down these pieces and it would funnel down and they'd spin down and one marble would fall into at a time. Last time I checked, you probably need to get a paycheck next February, right?
Yeah.
So it's not bad to actually have it in the pipeline.
Exactly.
And now as a business owner, you can actually start to forecast what you're actually going to make.
Mm-hmm.
I find that in, you know, whether it's in real estate or electrician or painter, being able to know what your business is going to actually have a baseline at, man, it's empowering.
Got to track the leads, man. You
Absolutely.
got to track the sources. You have to, you know, that's why business ownership isn't for everybody. And and it's fine. If it's not for you, it's not for you. It doesn't mean you're a shithead. It just means you own your crap and you're like being honest with yourself. And, you know, it's, I mean, it's not convenient for me to answer the phone on the first ring all the time. Let me tell you that.
Right.
And again, Simplify is a brand new 2-week-old company. I have certain milestones when I hit that, okay, this is when I'm putting this person in place in the office and some
Yeah.
of those other things. But
I mean,
until
like
that
a
gets
growth
rolling,
and action plan steps.
right? Yeah.
It's amazing.
Look at that. It's kind of crazy. What is the most common trade you guys are asked about?
I would say carpet and flooring on the listing side.
Yeah.
And then electrician and plumbing would be the 3 and 4.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And I have a crazy idea. I don't know if it's a good idea. Most of my ideas suck.
Mine do too. That's my wife.
But I have a lot of them. Yeah. I have a lot of them though. And every now and then one of them sticks. And we started dabbling in this right before I left my old company 12 years ago or whatever. I wanted to get gift cards, like a $500 gift card for painting, give them to our agents to get like, and you know how agents give like a gift at closing or something when somebody buys a house, not when they're selling the house, but when they buy the house, they're moving in. They're like 95% more likely to do painting in those first 60 days. So I'm like, give a $500 gift card to our realtors that they could put in these gift baskets with the wine and stuff. Good idea, bad idea. You guys give a shit about stuff like that?
No, I think
Does it make you look good? Like, I'm just curious.
I think that's a great idea.
Okay.
Being able to have that, when you're at a closing and stuff like that, man, that would be great to have as, a connection with somebody, man. That, as soon as they move in, they want to move into a clean place.
Right.
And a lot of times just the smell of new paint is like, man, that is so clean.
Yeah.
Clean smelling. So,
well, and here's the math. Just we'll talk because you're a numbers guy. You'll get this. We sell at a 50% gross profit. So if I go sell something for $500, it costs me about $250 to produce it.
Yeah.
Okay. What I'm doing is I'm spending the same $250 that I would spend. I'm just paying my guy to go into a house, right? Because there's cost per lead, cost per sale, and this and that. A lead could cost, $75. A lead could cost $300, depending on the source.
Right.
So I'm sitting here going, if I could pay $250, not to just get a lead, but to get in a home.
Yeah.
And you always send your best guy and you knock their socks off and he's trained to go, hey, was there anything else in here that you wanted us to take a look at while we're here? And then you upsell the shit out of it.
Right.
And now you have a new customer for life that you can continue marketing to. And nobody likes writing checks or swiping credit cards to marketing companies that just get them a bunch of leads that never get you in the house.
Right.
So
if we had that for our buyers, we give it to every one of our buyers. I tell you that right now.
I wonder how that can happen.
Yeah, I know, right?
So yeah, it's it's funny. It's on one of my action items for this thing is I have the browser open on my phone to order the gift cards, and I just haven't done it yet. So there you go. What else? I'm going to switch gears in a minute. I have one more question about just a super open-ended one for you, and then I want to talk a little business stuff. What are you? Is there anything else that we haven't talked about as far as like contractors working with real estate agents that might be important to know?
That we're approachable, that we're not all dickheads.
Yeah.
We're not all egomaniacs. And we're, the ones that are successful are the ones that will answer their phones. The ones that, are, we're not too busy to be able to forge new relationships.
Yeah.
So, I try to break stereotypes all the time. One of the things, because I'm former military.
Yeah.
When I showed up, was I late or was I early?
You were early.
So
yeah,
if we're breaking stereotypes with realtors are rarely on time. Not me. I'm gonna change it one person at a time.
Yeah.
So and just being, like I said, I'm gonna own it no matter what I do. So just have an open mind to other people too. For contractors, being able to see like everybody can approach their job in a different way, and you may have had a bad experience with somebody. That doesn't mean the rest of our industry is that way.
Yeah, I would agree wholeheartedly. I hated those realtor leads I would get where it's like, oh, my cousin's sister's Jenny, she's a realtor and she's a stay-at-home mom and she sells a house a year.
Yeah.
Or something. And I'm
right.
like, oh my God.
Right.
You know, but
you want the
yeah.
gangsters that are doing the job at the high level.
Yeah.
You know, you got to put in the time to meet them. But man, when you do, we'll run through walls for you guys too.
Yeah.
You know, because we want our reputations online with you guys. So if you go in and knock their socks off with getting a whole house done in 2 or 3 days,
Yeah.
you know, for a 4,000 square foot
Makes
place,
you look good.
makes us look great.
Yeah.
You know, and there's, you know, for painters that there's not, you know, paint on the carpet or something like that, or
We charge extra for that.
I know, right?
So.
Stuff like that. But like, you know, flooring guys that, you know, all the baseboards are put back in, and you know, that you don't have just the little nail holes and stuff like that. Just little stuff like that. If you go those little extra miles, man, they go a long way for people.
Man, there's that old saying that your edge is in the details.
Yeah.
And it couldn't be more true in I think anything you do, right?
Absolutely.
Like just having, you know, I did a walkthrough at the end of the job the other day with the team, and I called up my guy. I said I'm on my way, and my guys are great. Like they're really good painters, so I'm not ripping on them. And I said, hey, I just want you to know I'm going to be a bitch when I come out there. And he's like, what do you mean? I said, I'm going to nitpick the shit out of things. You know, and I tell them that all the time. I tell them, like, guys, you know, if I pull up to the job and it looks like shit, I'm not letting it slide. Like so I got out there and I'm like, hey, this looks good, but I need that addressed. And it's funny. And the reason I do this is, and you do the same, because we're wired similarly as business owners, like a lot of you guys watching this. You just operated a different mindset and a frequency of what the standard needs to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, and I'm sitting here going, I'm trying to get this jumbo liner off the ground with this new company. And I know in the early days, if I don't set the standard for the experience and the quality and the communication and the cleanup and all those different things, we're fucked.
Oh yeah.
We're fucked.
Yeah.
You know? And so, so we're already, you know, I'm telling them, I'm like, guys, waste plastic, do more prep than you think you need to do. I will pay you. Like, I'm paying for it. Right. I tell them all the time, and they're tired of it already after 2 weeks. We're not in the apology business. Right. Like, you should walk in the room, do your thing or the house, leave, and somebody else walks in and they don't know you were there other than the new colors or whatever the work is. So,
do you remember when we met? How we met?
Getting our haircuts.
Yeah. And the whole thing is about giving value to somebody else first. So I was giving a shout out video to our barber.
Right.
And he cuts my son's hair.
Yep.
And you walked in through the door, and that's how we made that connection.
I saw you guys doing content. And I'm like, hey, I do content. What's going on? We just started shooting the shit.
Exactly.
But you were there promoting their business.
Correct.
Adding value for nothing.
Right.
For free.
And we know, you know how much this stuff costs in video editing and videography and all of that stuff. We do all that stuff for free to help our business, you know. So, you know, giving your painting company a free shout out video. That's what we do.
Yep.
You know, it's like, if we can help build value with everybody and help our clients, everybody wins.
Well, was it 4th of July? I reshared your post.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, guys, it doesn't have to be these big crazy things.
Right.
It's just, you posted a cool post about the 4th of July and a little write-up. And I'm like, I was going to do my own. And I'm like, fuck it. Ryan already did it. So I just shared it.
Yeah.
But it's those little things that keep you on people's radar.
Yeah.
And you add value.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a, and that whole add value thing is such an, it's crucial, but I think it's very misunderstood.
Right. And I mean, it can be as simple as, like, you know, just going out and having a beer or having a drink with somebody. Man, I had a shitty day.
Yeah.
And like, dude, I got your back. Or just answering the phone on, like, or just having a texting conversation, man. What do you think about this idea? Man, that goes along. Dude, you know how many times, like, business owners freaking get their ass kicked?
Daily.
Oh, yeah. God.
Dude, I told, remind me to come back and tell you about Steve.
Yeah.
Because it was like from a half an hour ago. Anyways, it's, like, this is the mind of the entrepreneur.
Right.
Now I forget what the fuck I was going to say. Shit. What was I going to say? You just said something.
I was talking about adding
God.
value.
Yeah, the adding value is misunderstood. Oh my God, I totally forgot. All right, I'll tell
What
you
about Steve? Tell me about
I'll tell you,
Steve.
Steve. So you were talking about realtors being kick ass and dealing with the contractors. And
Yeah.
Just last night, Steve's one of my best friends and former business partner, only because he retired.
Yeah.
And he moved to Florida, bought a house, and wanted to do all this stuff to it. And he had so much trust built with his real estate agent that I think it's a female, he pulled her aside and he said, these are all the things I want to do in the house. Here's so-and-so, my designer. What would it look like for you to give me a concierge service here just to make this shit happen while I'm traveling and doing stuff?
Yeah.
And so he's dropped a shit ton of money to remodel his whole house. His realtor was the project manager.
Yeah.
And he paid her like 10 grand to manage the project in addition to the house and all that other stuff, and with all her contractors. And Steve, this is rare. Steve, I literally just yesterday had this conversation with him. He goes, dude, I was expecting a bunch of shithead contractors, right? Because let's face it, there's a lot of shithead contractors. Right. I don't mean they're bad people. You just don't know how to run a fucking business. You don't know how to communicate. Right. And those things. He's like, it was flawless, and it was that realtor's network, right? And so whoever she's got knows that their jobs make her look good, and in return, she's going, here you go.
You've heard this, I guess the analogy, your network is your net worth.
Mm-hmm. Dude, there it is.
That's the best analogy that you gave just then.
I'm still pissed I can't remember what I was going to say a minute ago. So, all right. So I want to change gears a little because you got a few different gigs going on.
Yeah.
You lots of experiences in business. You're crushing it. I mean, shit. What were you saying before we hit record here today? You just sold like how many pounds of fucking fish food or some shit you got going on? What the hell's that?
Fish meal? Yeah. So I'm contracting a deal, and it's getting shipped across the world. We have an international investor.
Okay.
And it's the first shipment's going out. You know, we're finalizing the deal this week. It's 500 tons at $1,600 a ton.
Wow.
So, and that's a monthly shipment.
That's per month.
Per month.
And how did you wiggle yourself into that fucking thing?
When you actually have to have a real estate license to be a business brokerage.
Okay.
To broker business transactions,
okay.
Like selling of businesses.
Yeah.
So for me, it was a natural progression, entrepreneurial spirit. Well, if I can get into commodities.
Yeah.
And I found a commodities trader that wanted to do something on an international level.
Wow.
That's what I did.
This is not like some Nigerian prince or something.
No,
right?
Not at all. So. Not at all. I can't get into specifics. I'll tell you off.
It's all good. It's all good. You know the Nigerian joke.
Oh yeah.
You get, I am a Nigerian prince and I need somebody to give my money to. And
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Oh, here's my routing number.
Yeah, exactly.
I had a lead come in like that for the painting company the other day, and it's hilarious. Let me, in fact, I'm gonna read a little of this because it's funny as hell. You can edit this part. Where is it here? And I saved it. All right, so I email this person back. I said, hey, when would you like to talk about the project? They're like, hey, I still have the painting position available. And sorry for our late response. My name is Erica and my husband's name is Morgan. We're relocating from Wales to your city in the United States on July 25th. My husband will be coming here to your city in the United States to blah, blah, blah. And she goes on to describe some of the work. My husband will tell the real estate agent that we're working with to mail the keys of the apartment to you as soon as it's ready. Maybe you will be able to paint it before we arrive and move our items in. Goes on and on. My husband will instruct him to pay $1,000 advance payment before our arrival so as to secure your service. So my husband finance would be needing the following information to make out the bank cashier's check.
Oh my gosh.
Your name and blah, blah, all this shit. Please let me know if you're really interested. I'll be waiting for the details and have the check and start as soon as possible. Best regards. I reply, Erica, thanks for the reply. Due to this being an unusual situation with you relocating here, I'll need some additional information before we proceed. We've been scammed in the past in a similar situation. That was a lie. I hope you're not offended by my request. Can I please get the name and contact number of your agent? Also, the address of your apartment. Thank you. It's been crickets for 3 days.
Right? ChatGPT can write a better email for them.
Oh my God. So, all right, let's bring it home today with just some overall business
Sure.
lessons you've learned. How long you been? 10 years roughly in business?
8 years.
8 years?
Yeah, 8 years.
Okay. What comes to mind when you got an audience of a bunch of people that are building businesses and you go, hey, this in my experience is
I think in any business, know your numbers.
okay. No way. No, Logan, we've never heard that here before, right? Know your numbers, right? Which, by the way, you can grab our Nail Your Numbers course at contractorfight.com under courses /nail. Anyway.
Love it. So yeah, knowing your numbers, actually knowing how to create a P&L statement, a balance statement, knowing how to look at your conversion rates. Like to me, that's important because you know how to actually train to get better at those skills. And then be working on yourself mentally to understand the attributes that can help you succeed even more.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it's being open-minded, coachable, work on your resiliency.
Yeah.
These pieces make a huge change to your mindset in owning a business.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get kicked in your teeth
Dude,
daily.
That resiliency thing, I think this is what I was going to say earlier.
Okay.
All right. I think we're back. Roped it in. I think that resiliency thing is so important. I've traditionally throughout my life been too stupid to quit.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
And I don't mean that as a rip on me. I'm just so fucking stubborn. I'm like, I'm going to find a way. And I was telling my wife the other day, I said, if I make it through 2024, I will fucking conquer the world. Because this has been, there's things personally going on. And, my mother-in-law just passed away last night, not even, maybe 18 hours ago, and it's just been a rough grind with that and some other things going on. And this is definitely one of those seasons where you're trying to stay the course on the business and do this. And it's like you get hit from all these different angles. Yeah. And dude, I was laying awake. I do these little posts, almost pretty much every day, where I just kind of brain dump, right? And last night I was putting some notes down for the one I'm going to write today. And it says, the title is, I'm So Imperfect. Right?
Yeah.
Like nobody's fucking perfect.
Right.
I'm tired of all these guys. Like I'm not like the gurus of the world. I'm not the Grant Cardone and the fucking Tony Robbins and shit. But my point here is, I have a pretty decent sized audience and following and amazing fight community. And one of the things that we can often think, whether it's conscious or not, when we look at somebody that's higher profile, they're successful, this and that, is you think they don't have the same fucking struggles you're having. Like I did a post a couple weeks ago, like every business, I don't care who the business is, from time to time has cash flow issues.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like to say that you just never have cash flow issues is I don't believe it. We all have marketing issues. We all have retention issues. We all have conversion issues from time to time. We have people issues, all these things.
Yeah.
Anyway, my point of this was all these typos, because I was like just trying to bang it out before I went to bed. Yoda says, no try, just do, or whatever he says in Star Wars, right? And I was just camping on that. And then I'm like, Logan's all happy. He's like a Star Wars freak or something. I don't know. Yeah. He's back there behind the camera going, Yoda. And I go, I say try.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
like I get the concept. And if you guys have watched the channel, you know, I'm like, fuckers, no excuses, and do your fucking job and do this. And this was on the heels, obviously, of a pretty extreme example last night. Yesterday was the final day with my mother-in-law. And this was what was on my mind. I said, Yoda says, no try, do, whatever the quote is, right? I say try because a lot gets in the way of the do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes there's this shit that just gets in the way of the do. There's sickness, the needs of your kids, serving a client, whatever. And so my message when I polish this thing together and I get all my brain on it here later today is going to be, you know what, no matter what's going on, just try. Just
Right.
try one more time. Just get up one more time. You know, be back to your resilience point.
Yeah.
Like I think how many, I mean, you know, Gary Vaynerchuk, right? You know,
Yeah.
Gary V, he's like, you fuckers, you do content for 3 months and you go, it didn't work and I didn't make any money. It doesn't work. And he's like, no, you got to do it for like 4 years.
Right.
You got to keep stacking the wins. You got to keep showing up back to the bamboo when you don't see the results and this and that. And so I just want to say, guys, keep trying. Okay. You own your crap, all that. You know what your best effort looks like. And if your best effort today is you have time to send one text to a client or call somebody or do one thing that takes you a half an hour, and that's all you can fucking do today because of the other shit going on, then that's okay. Give yourself some grace, but just fucking keep trying.
And it's not linear. People need to understand it doesn't look like a 45-degree angle. It looks like, man, I'm getting my ass kicked. I'm getting my ass kicked. It may go down a little bit. All of a sudden, it looks like a hockey stick.
Yeah.
You know, and then you level
Then
off.
you're right about to the top, and then some fucker shows up and kicks you in the
Right.
face, and you roll back down
Right.
the mountain.
But
right?
then you get back up and it kicks back up again.
Yeah.
You know, but you can't stop because that's the only way you lose is if you quit.
Yeah.
You know, you just keep getting those little wins and celebrate the little wins, man. Like,
That's huge.
oh man.
That's a great lesson, you guys. Celebrate, because we're psycho as entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I'm never fucking happy.
No.
I'm never satisfied.
But
Like, I
I'll
have a-
text you even like
Right.
little stuff along
Yeah.
the way, man. Bro, you would not believe this, right?
Right. Yeah.
So,
But you have to celebrate. And that I've said this before on the show, that's one thing that if I drop the ball on most consistently, it's probably celebrating the little wins.
right.
Because I'm like, anytime we have a win, if I sell a job, I'm like, well, I was supposed to sell the fucking job. So move on. I did my job.
Right.
I don't need a pat on the back, you know, but but yeah, that whole there was an old meme years ago, what people think entrepreneur looks like, being an entrepreneur, you know, the hockey stick, and what it really looks like is like a squiggly line,
Yeah.
you know?
The other thing too is have your circle, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like the people that are going to celebrate with you for those wins too. Cause like, you know, I want you in my life,
Yeah.
you know, because like you get it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like, if I share something, you're not going to be like, man, that fucker got something that I didn't. No, you're going to celebrate with me.
Yeah.
And we're all going to win together, you know, and you don't have to be in the same industry to do that,
Yep.
you know, and that's, like I said, you know, if you have an electrician and a realtor that can celebrate together, man, we're all going to do great.
Well, and another thing I think is key for people to understand about business here is that nobody that's doing as good or better than you will ever hate on you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And a lot of people with social media and this and that. Now, I also say if you're not getting any hate, you're probably not making enough noise.
Oh, I
don't wake up every day and go, I want to be polarizing. I'm just being myself, right?
Right.
But like, you know, if I'm not getting some criticism, then I'm probably not pushing enough. But on the other side of that, you know, if I called you up or texted you and said, dude, I am getting my ass handed to me right now and I'm struggling with this and cash flow sucks and this is happening, whatever it might be, you're not going to shit on me.
No.
Because those who know, they know.
Right.
They like, and I think they always say it's lonely at the top. I don't know if I believe that, because I think if you're improving your career, your health, whatever it is, you're leveling up those relationships, you now have an incredibly tight circle of people who fucking get it.
Oh yeah.
You know, and the more I've risen, my relationships have gotten better and I'm way less lonely than I was when I didn't have those relationships.
Right. 100%, man. I keep coming back to like a quote that I heard Charles Barkley say.
Mm-hmm.
He said like 20% of the people are going to hate on you no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
20% of the people are going to love on you no matter what. And it's those 60% in the middle that you really push into anyway.
Yeah.
And then you make your 20% even bigger.
Right.
So
There you go.
that's the way I look at it, man.
Other business lessons. You talk know your numbers. Like we touched on relationships. What else? Let's do this. If going back the last 8 years, what was maybe one of the lowest moments you had in business? Maybe like, I'm fucking done. I'm not doing this. And how did you recover?
I would say having your circle with the right people.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you make a bad business decision, it can hurt you, whether you go into business with somebody
Yeah.
or you trust the wrong people for whatever reason. I've done that.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel so you're lonely at those times because you don't want to express your failures to others in those ways.
Yeah.
But at the same time, keep grinding because it's going to get better, and it comes from follow up after that. Because if you're not following up, man, like I told you, last time I checked, I need to get paid in February of next year.
Yeah.
So even if I fuck up now,
Yeah.
I can still build back.
Yeah.
So, and those, it's not if you fail that you're a failure.
Mm-hmm.
If you learn from it,
Yeah.
man, because like I'm not going to learn from kicking ass every single day. I'm going to learn from the times I screwed up and I owned it and I made myself better because of it.
Yeah. We almost blew ourselves up in the Marine Corps once, and I'll avoid the story, but it involved a grenade.
Yeah.
And some other things. And there was a secondary explosion that went off and blasted me and my buddy way back. Okay. Just it was like a sledgehammer to the chest.
Oh,
It was
yeah,
crazy. And he was my platoon sergeant, and he looks at me and goes, Reber, remember Tennessee Tuxedo, the cartoon? Okay. So, and Chumley, the walrus. Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
He sounded like Tennessee Tuxedo. We always make fun of him. And he goes, Reber. And I go, what's up, Staff Sergeant? He goes, let's not do that again. That was the lesson, right? So sometimes you get your face punched in.
Right.
And you got to learn from it. And we learn from it, obviously. But how do you go about making decisions? Because you're an entrepreneur. You have an idea every 7 fucking seconds. All right. You got 4 businesses that you mentioned.
Yeah.
That we know of at this point.
Right.
And you probably have a new one in a month, because that's just how it works. But so how do you know it's the right time to start another business? How do you do you have any sort of self-regulation on this shit?
You got to be profitable before, it's got to get profitable, and you got to create a job description for yourself to get out of that.
Yeah.
Because if you were doing the painting, you're never going to get out of that business.
Yeah.
So create a job description that an owner doesn't mean that you're not doing the work. You're just working on the business, not in the business.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing in real estate. I don't have to go show houses or go put a sign in the yard. I have people that are going to be able to do those things for me. Now, you have to get to a place that once you've gotten to a place that you do not have to work in the business, and it's profitable, then you can probably move on to something, secondary or tertiary or something like that.
Yeah, I see a lot of people, they'll be struggling in their contracting business, and then they'll, and I made this mistake. I'll be the first to admit it. Many, many years ago, way back in the day, I started a painting company. I was getting these, and we weren't doing that good at the time. And then somebody asked me like, hey, do you do handyman work? And I'm like, yeah, and then now I was starting like a handyman business.
Right.
And I was dividing my focus now. So instead of whole-assing my main thing,
you're half-assing 2 of them.
Half-assing 2 things. And I see a lot of people go, they think the grass is greener if they start another division of the company, or they do this or that. And they take that focus. And so I've learned to be like, I mean, even with the contractor fight, I knew I was going to start a painting company again. And it's been about 2 years since I put Neil, our CEO, in place. And I've given it 2 years. I had no doubt he was going to kick ass, but I just wanted to make sure that I was doing what I needed to do. And I called him up one day a few months ago and I said, hey, I'm thinking it's time for me to do this. And, I could, I'm not that fucking relevant to the day to day around here anymore, and, let me know what you need me to do, when you need things done and this and that, and I'll do it. But are you cool with this? And we had a conversation. We counted the cost. Like, is this going to take focus off the fight? Is this going to, and, we came to the agreement. This is actually, actually probably a good thing for the fight, because I can tell you already in the last couple of weeks that I got back in the game, I'm already a better coach.
Right.
I already have more empathy with what the guys are going for, because the longer you're out of something, you forget what it was like.
Yeah.
And so I really wanted to put myself back in the mud and build this thing. And it, like I said, it's already made me better in so many ways. And I think it's helped the fight already.
I think a lot of times we try to fill in holes in a business when, if you look at it from a 30,000 foot view, if you're profitable enough, you can leverage that with people who have better skill sets than yourself.
Yeah.
If you're really honest about it.
Yep.
The issue is people don't get to a place of profitability that they can actually manage that piece, and they're always stuck in the gray matter bullshit.
Yeah.
But they have to basically get to a point that they have to get themselves out of that business.
Yeah.
For it to really succeed.
Yeah, you got to get out of the way. I was listening to an Alex Hormozy podcast the other day.
Yeah.
And he said, I was talking to this guy, he was doing 10 million a year, but he had multiple businesses. And and Hormozy, and the guy came to like his workshop or something and wanted advice on how to grow his revenue.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, he says, well, how many businesses do you have? And the guy goes, well, I'm not sure. He had that many, he wasn't sure.
Wow.
And literally, you guys can hear, some of you probably heard the podcast, right? Anyway, he goes, I got it all on a spreadsheet. He goes, well, pull up the spreadsheet. He pulls up the spreadsheet. He had 56 businesses.
Oh my gosh.
One of them was doing about 5 million. The other 55 were doing the other 5 million.
Right.
And Alex is like, what do you think would happen if you just focused on this one? And long story short, a few days later, the guy like decides, he's going to get rid of the other businesses and just keep the one. Alex saw him like a year later, and he had gotten rid of all the businesses. And I don't remember the exact multiplier of what he grew it by, but he exploded that original business because he whole-assed the one thing.
Right.
And he wasn't divided in his, just because something's a good idea doesn't mean you should do it.
Sure.
Or just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do it. You can start another division in your company. You could do this, that, or the other thing. You could start a fucking restaurant right now. It doesn't mean you should.
Right, right.
Because there's unintended consequences of other
opportunity cost.
There you go.
Yep.
All right, last bit of business thoughts, advice, wisdom before we wrap up. What's on your mind that we haven't talked about? Like, if you're literally, you got the stage here, man.
I would say for anybody, just choose grateful. Because it's hard enough as it is. Don't be too hard. Give yourself grace and choose grateful.
Wow. I didn't expect that. I mean, I don't mean that negatively. I'm like, just, I wrote a post a couple weeks ago. It said, I choose optimism.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's hard enough to fucking get this thing rolling and do what you do in business and life. And because we have our plans and then life happens. God has other plans. You get punched in the face by Mike Tyson, whatever's happening in your life.
Yep.
Which, by the way, I had the craziest dream the other night. I dreamt, like, did they fight the other night? Tyson and Jake Paul?
Not yet.
I literally had a dream. Okay, good. Because I literally had a dream.
Because I want to see that.
That Tyson knocked him out like in 40 seconds or some shit. So anyway, I had a dream. I don't know why it was on my mind, but probably because I've been, getting punched in the face.
That would be my biggest thing, man, is just
gratitude.
Mm-hmm. Because like, I'm grateful for our relationship that we have, man. I'm grateful for this opportunity. I don't need to say anything more about myself, man. Cause like this is the best opportunity that you can have is
I
these
want to.
relationships.
This is a coaching moment, not for you, for you guys. Notice what he said about gratitude, okay, and relationships. I believe you are as successful as you are and are continue to grow because of the frequency you choose to show up each day in all your relationships. We all have a frequency. I don't know all the science behind it. I just know enough to know that when you're dealing with somebody who's optimistic and grateful versus somebody who's like a wet rag, okay, who do you think's going to win more?
Yeah.
In the same industry.
Yeah.
You know, it's the stories we tell ourselves. Like, you know, like there was another business thing a few months ago, and my first reaction was like, you know, I started to mentally go down the victim route, and I caught myself, and I'm like, no, this is good. Jocko says good. You know, like when something goes wrong, you go good.
Right. Yeah.
Now I can learn from it.
Yeah.
Now I can get better. Now I can prove that this is what I'm made of, and that's how I chose to reframe it during that thing that we had going on in the company, right? And I'm just like, all right, this fucking sucks. It's inconvenient, but I'm grateful we're learning it now. We can do something about it, this, that, you know.
Right.
And that carries a different frequency. And I'm telling you, you know, was it Zig Ziglar said the greatest tool in sales is enthusiasm? Like,
it really
you could
is.
have all the right words and the scripts and the best leads in the world, but if you don't show up with that right frequency, your chances of winning a deal go down.
And man, it's so much more authentic, man.
Mm-hmm.
So like, and I'm not saying like try to be a poser. I'm saying,
Right.
Man, I'd rather be grateful and still like have that optimistic type of look at things instead of like try to put on a face because I just have like a negative attitude.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, you know, people can see through that shit all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm just going to choose to be grateful no matter what comes my way.
Yeah, I have leads come in and I tell them, I go, hey, I just, you know, I don't know how this is going to end up, if we're a good fit or not or whatever. I just want to let you know I really appreciate you taking the time to consider our company.
Yeah.
I literally try to start with just that energy right out of the gate, and seems to work. So,
absolutely, man.
Know, seems to work. Well, if what other states are you going into?
Oklahoma. I'm from Sacramento.
Okay.
My wife's from Southern California, so we're going to be heading down to Southern California, possibly into Oregon, and then out in the east a little bit as well, like working on some partnerships out in the Carolinas.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
So guys, if you're in those states, follow him. Where do they follow you? Where do they find you?
Wolfpack Property Group. .com is our website for our real estate stuff. Ryan Van Ornum across all social media platforms, and you know, you can find our stuff with mostly just wolfpackpropertygroup.com. I have it, or not Wolfpack Property Group, across all social medias as well.
Cool.
So
good stuff. We'll drop those links in there. Guys, give Ryan a follow. If you got any if you want to build your network, hit him up.
Absolutely. Investors, hit me up, man. We'll do something. We can go across state lines.
We didn't even talk about the real estate investing stuff side of his business, guys. So if you're doing flips and things like that, you're looking for a kick-ass partner, there you go.
Hell yeah. Let's do it.
All right, brother. Thanks, man.
Awesome. Appreciate you, bro.